Not sure if I hear an echo. Okay. My name's Anthea Martin. I'm chair of the State Housing Board. I'm also an affordable housing lender with BWE. I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order and welcome everyone here to our will likely be a short meeting. If we could please start with a State Housing Board roll call. Sam Betters is absent. Nancy is absent. You're Sam. Thanks. Thanks, Ryan. Jackson, are you here? We'll go back to Nancy. James Martinez.
I'm here.
Thanks, James. Ryan. Candace Payne.
Candace is here.
LaDon Sperling.
See, Jackson's here too. I just got kicked out moment.
Oh, hi, Nancy. And LaDon did say she's an evergreen without great service. So she may be in and out of this meeting. Monique Terpstra.
I am here.
Monique, is that how you say your last name?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Excellent. Well, we have at least 4 members present today, so that is great. And I believe that Sam Betters has given his proxy to Ryan. Okay. Next up, if we could please have a motion for approval for the July 2024 meeting votes.
So moved. This is Candace.
Thanks, Candace.
I second that. This is Monique.
Thank you, Monique, for the second. All those in favor signify by aye or a hand raise.
Aye.
Is anybody opposed?
Abstain, Nancy Jackson.
You're abstained, Nancy?
I wasn't there.
Okay. Thank you, Nancy. All right. Next up on the agenda today, I believe, is our introduction or budget updates and comments from Allison George.
Thank you, Anthea. In the spirit of being short, I will be short today as well. Many things progressing. We have one virtual session and one session in Colorado Springs yet to be done for our summer engagement sessions. So Ryan, hoping to see you possibly in Colorado Springs coming up. So if you haven't had the opportunity to attend a summer engagement session where we partner with our other statewide agencies, so OEDIT and CHAFA, and then the Housing Colorado, I would encourage you to participate either in the virtual option and or in Colorado Springs. Ryan, did you want to say something?
Yes, good afternoon, Allison. So I tried to register for that event over a month ago when you first announced those town hall meetings, and it was booked. It was packed. I don't know if you know. Yeah, so it's almost like that old song, I keep on knocking, but I can't come in. And so that's, so I don't know how to get access to it.
So then I would recommend registering for the online event. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was talking about. I was talking
Oh,
about
that one was full?
Yes.
Oh,
Well,
I will take that back to Housing Colorado then.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. Sorry, writing myself a note. Okay. Okay. So we will touch base with Housing Colorado and let them know that that is full, but obviously there is a lot of demand. I hear daily housing is the #1 topic in the state of Colorado. We have so much need throughout the state. And so as we work toward addressing those needs, just as an update, we're doing the kickoff for our organizational planning with all staff today. So excited for that. So all DOH staff will be doing a kickoff with our consultants that are coming in to help us with our organizational planning. So that is exciting. And then as a part of that, to ensure that we're, moving forward as quickly as we can, I think I may have mentioned this last month, but just to make sure, there's so much need, and we need to be growing our support of our staff. And so with that, we are hiring another deputy director. So that would be 2 deputy directors in addition to our operations director. So growing the DOH leadership team. And the idea with that is that we need to be out more with our communities, understanding what the needs are at the local levels, and for leadership to be internally focused without that finger on the pulse of what's happening outside of our walls. We lose sight of those needs. And so by expanding the leadership team of the Division of Housing, the idea and hope is that we can grow that support for our staff and be out in our communities more with our staff as well, with our stakeholders. So that is an exciting update that we're working on in the coming months. And so you will actually see the announcement for that position in the coming week or 2 is what I would say. But that is happening together with the organizational planning that we're undertaking. So happy to answer any specific questions that you all might have.
Allison, will you be posting that on LinkedIn?
Yes, it'll be posted on LinkedIn in addition to our website and included in our newsletter.
Okay, great. So just a reminder to the State Housing Board members and really anyone on the call, if you can share it with your network on LinkedIn, it's really important that we get some wonderful candidates in here for these open positions.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Anthea. I appreciate that.
Sure. Okay. Well, thank you for the comments, Allison. Appreciate those. We will go on to the program application stage. And today we have one deal. It's Royal Pine Apartments, and presenting on behalf of the borrower is Erin McNabb.
Hi, it's very nice to be able to present this project to you today. DBG Properties LLC is requesting $4.5 million cash flow loan to build Royal Pine Apartments. Royal Pine Apartments is a 232 unit property with AMIs ranging from 30 to 70%. The proposed site is one of the few sites in North Colorado Springs that permits multifamily housing, as the majority of the area is market rate master planned communities. The project is one of the prioritized projects for the July 1st application cycle and was previously awarded $2.5 million in THLF funds at the June 25th State Housing Board meeting. Presenting the project will be Eric Grodel from DBG Properties and Alyssa Wilson from SB Clark Incorporated. Eric and Alyssa, if you'd like to talk more about your project.
Yeah, thanks, Erin. I do have a presentation. Is it possible to share the screen? If not, I can just walk through it.
You should be able to, Eric.
Perfect. I think they needed to stop sharing, and then let's see. Can you guys see my screen? If this doesn't work, I can just...
We
can see it.
Okay, I'll go through this quickly then. Well, thank you guys, everybody, again, for taking the time. I was here a few months ago, so I apologize to those who've heard this presentation before, but Eric Grodal, with the principal with DBG Properties, and Alyssa Wilson, as Erin mentioned, is on with me to correct any mistakes I make. But thank you so much for the opportunity to present our project, Royal Pine Apartments. So the first slide I have here is a site plan. This is a 232 unit proposed multifamily development near Powers and Union in Colorado Springs on roughly an 8-acre site. It's a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units, and it will be an income averaging project, 100% affordable, but it'll target 30, 60, and 70% AMI. So that's a big selling point with this project. hopefully, as you can see with the site plan as well, as there's quite a bit of open space with this. There's 25,000 square feet of amenitized open space on a site of 8 acres. We think that'll be very well received in the market. One of the key highlights of this one, I put this aerial together, is this truly is an infill development with an abundance of services nearby. In terms of transportation, you have a bus line that's across the street and the highway with powers right next to the site. Across the street, there's also a hospital and a children's hospital. In terms of groceries, you have Target and King Soopers that are very nearby. John Venezia Community Park is less than a mile away, which is actually probably the nicest park in the city. It's in an excellent school district in an area of opportunity. And one of the things I put in this aerial as well is in light blue, 3 market rate apartments. And I highlight these because the rents on these apartments are between $400 and $800 higher than our 70% units, depending on the unit size. And I think that speaks to the desirability of this part of town. So kind of piggybacking on this point, I also prepared this slide, which is a dot plot of the historical LIHTC development in Colorado Springs. And as you'll see, the green dots are historical LIHTC developed projects. And most of the concentration in Colorado Springs has happened in the south of the city near downtown and out towards the airport in the southeast corridor. If you include Colorado Springs, there are fewer than 1,000 units either developed or proposed north of Woodman Road. And this does tend to be the higher demographic and higher area of opportunity part of the city. So Royal Pine Apartments is the largest deal in the pipeline for the city of Colorado Springs right now, and one that we think is also very important for the city and its future. So with that, I'll leave this aerial and I'm happy to answer any questions. Again, sorry for anybody who had to bear with me through that presentation again. And thank you for the introduction, Aaron.
Thank you, Eric. Ryan?
Well, thanks, Anthea. No, good afternoon, Mr. Godall. Thank you for your presentation. Understanding that the project here will take place on the northeast side of town here in Colorado Springs. Just keeping my ear to the ground, some of the local residents have had high levels of consternation with regard to the increased trafficability demands of that project, and they've also got some other concerns with safety and so on and so forth. And so my first question, sir, is what steps have you and your organization taken to try to set aside some of the apprehension and consternation of the local residents that will be impacted by this project?
Yeah, Ryan, I appreciate the question. It's been a long process with the neighborhood. We've tried to be engaged with them since the beginning. As part of the land use entitlement process, we're required to have a neighborhood meeting. We actually did 3, so 2 were entirely voluntary. And we did those in different formats, one a Zoom call, one kind of an open house concept, and then the required one was me on stage answering questions. But I spent more than 6 hours in total neighborhood meetings with the community. I also made myself and my contact available to anybody and everybody who wanted it. So countless hours responding to emails, answering phone calls, interfacing with the community as best we could. We do have staff approval, planning commission approval, and city council approval, all 5-2 planning commission, 6-1 city council approval. This was a zone site. We're not asking for any variances within the site. In terms of some of this, we've made several adjustments to the site plan. If I go back up to that, we are not at the minimum parking. Parking and traffic was a big one. We added 10% of parking to this to help ease the concerns of the neighborhood. We, as you can see, if my mouse shows, the development concentration is the back here. The neighbors that are affected are here. So we tried to push the concentration and intensity of the development back and then block it with landscaping buffer here and a clubhouse that's a single story. We also did a lot of low light fixtures throughout the site here so that it minimized the light pollution and such to the neighborhood. So we did several things to try to mitigate the concerns of the neighborhood on this one and worked with them hand in hand. But it was a tough process, and but we again are within all criteria of the zoning code. So we did not ask for any variances to this.
No, I
Hope
appreciate
that helps answer the question.
it does, sir. A couple more follow-on questions real quick, and I will frame this from the perspective that I'm here on the northwest side of town. I live less than a mile from Garden of the Gods. And so the city council has actually had multiple lines of effort with development. And so I think some of the more than just some of the rational criteria that the residents on the northeast side of town made. There's, as you can tell, there's just a political, I'll frame it and say there's a political element here down here. And part of that too is with the city council. Do you remember what the vote was that gave you guys the final approval for the local city council down here?
6-1.
It was 6-1. Okay, that's pretty good, because over here on the northwest side of town, more specifically on Flying W Ranch Road where I live, with the Waldo Canyon fire, it was 4-3. It was 4-3. So that makes me feel a lot better that it was 6-1 there in terms of representation. So I appreciate the efforts that you've made to try to mitigate some of those, let's just call them practical and rational, concerns that the citizens on the northeast side of town there had. But you also understand with the Powers Corridor, it just gets worse and worse here. But thank you for your efforts, and thank you for your explanations today, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation, Eric. And I'm a huge fan of DBG's work. Your team's amazing. I just want to highlight for everyone, the developer fee is less than the average of 12 to 15% at 11.7%, and all of it's being deferred. We don't typically see that in deals. So definitely a lot of risk that's taken on behalf of the developer. A great product is proposed. The question that I have is specific to the AMI mix. So I see that based on the capture rates, there seems to be a high demand at 1% capture rate for the 70% AMI and the 30% AMI, and then above 30 for the 60s. Can you talk through, Eric, why we couldn't have more of a mix with maybe some 50s and some more 70s rather than such a big concentration of 60s? And I wonder if there's a reason that I'm just missing.
Some of it is related to your investor and marketability when you go out to raise capital. We actually typically with income averaging deals are frankly, in my experience with the equity partners, especially falling out of favor a little bit. They're a little bit more challenging to lease up and keep full. I think the 70s also present a challenge because oftentimes they bump up against market. That's one of the reasons I highlighted the market rate units nearby, is that there's still a very significant discount even to those 70% units, which we think will be very well received. We bumped up the 5% minimum for the 30% units to 7.5% on this. So we did try to stretch there while still maintaining marketability and equity pricing and that sort of thing, and perceived risk of income averaging deals. So I think that, we tried to mix that as best we could without compromising how it would be marketed in the site or in the market. And the only other thing I would mention is capture rates are one thing. I think they're a fine metric, but they're not really a metric that we pay a lot of attention to. I think rather, if you look at the vacancy, and we have a market study for this, there's a sub 1% vacancy in this part of the market for affordable housing at the 60% level. There are no 30%, or there might be a few 30% units, and there are no 70% units in the market at all. So we feel that, again, with the fewer than 1,000 units north of Woodman Road, the area of opportunity, and what you see with the existing affordable housing stock, that this will be very well received.
Wonderful. Thanks for that, Eric. Any other questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, let's go ahead and take this to vote. If I could ask for a motion of approval, please.
This is Candace. I'm going to make that motion to approve the project.
And I'll second it, Nancy Jackson.
Thank you, Candace, for the motion and Nancy for the second. All those in favor signify by aye or hand raise.
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstaining? And Ryan, your vote is also for Sam.
Yes.
Okay, congratulations, Eric and DBG team. Thank you all for your time today. We will look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you as always, Anthea, and everybody else. Sorry to bear with me through the presentation twice in the same amount of months here. Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.